So the question on the table here, following up this Aussie continuation, I'll go ahead and use this same pattern, is can patterns be used for exits? Well, every single entry strategy should have a point of validity. Okay? In other words, if you think about why you got into a pattern, or into a trade, there was a set of reasons that made that trade valid. Okay? So, for example, let's do this swing chart first. Let's say we weren't necessarily looking at the rising wedge pattern. We were simply using the wave as a swing entry. My point of validity, or my reason for the trade being valid in the first place, would be the markup cycle. Right? Let's think about the reasons we would take the trade. Okay? So we have the markup cycle, and then we wait on a pullback. So that's the reason the trade would be valid to begin with. Okay? So if either we don't maintain the markup cycle or we don't get the pullback, there's no way I can get the trade. So there's no validity. But let's say I do, and I have in the past. Okay? What is my point of validity, my POV? Well, I know the reasons for getting in. What are my reasons for getting out? If the reason for my entry was the markup cycle and pullback, which is essentially buying into support, when support is no longer available to me, when that support is broken, that's my point of validity. So what do I gauge as my support in an uptrending swing trade using the wave? Okay, there's two different entries here. One based on a wave, one based on a pattern. So there's two different strategies we're talking about. So I have to talk about these separately. If I'm using the wave as my strategy for an entry long, the bottom line of the wave, which is currently at 90.99, is where I would no longer have support if that level broke, and I'd get out. What's really nice though is not only do I have that 90.99 level, it's basically the psychological level of 9100. So if psychological level breaks support, my bottom line of the wave breaks support, I'm going to give it at least about 3 to 5 pips. Okay, because I don't want to put my stop loss right at support. I want to put it just beyond. So I'd be looking at basically 90.95, possibly 90.94. Now remember, the wave is a dynamic level. In other words, the price value is changing with price action. So make sure you reassess this at least once every 4 hours and make sure that you have the freshest price updating on the wave value, that 34 EMA low. Alternatively, you can absolutely use the 9100 as a psychological level support, in which case you'd put your stop somewhere still around 90.94 or 90.95. So that's the swing based upon the 34 period EMA wave. What about the swing based upon the pattern? Okay, can patterns be used for exits? Which is the question here. All right, so same reason, markup cycle, pullback to the pattern support, which is this yellow line right here. So the reason for this trade, the rising wedge, to be valid as a swing buy would be if prices bounced off the support, the backbone of this rising wedge pattern, right? If prices cannot maintain support at the bottom of the pattern, then the pattern has been broken. Not only has the pattern been broken, it potentially could be an aggressive reversal signal. So just as I would give any support level a little bit of room to wiggle. Okay, let me extend this line out just a little bit here. Just as I would give any support level room to wiggle. And I want to clean this chart up a little bit. There's a lot of things going on here. All right, much better. Okay, so as much as I want to give this backbone a little bit of room to wiggle, what I need to do is identify where the pullback would be. If we pull back during this candle right here, the pullback would basically be at, let's see, the support level is bear with me a second. See if I can bring this up. 91.52 is where it's showing me currently the support level would be. You can see a little pop-up window there. 91.52. I get major psychological level support there. That's kind of nice. It is higher than the pullback that we were just talking about on the swing trade. So at 91.52 would be where I would be looking for the pullback. You know, right around that area. Now remember, an uptrend line is dynamic, so you know, if you're off a little bit here or there, you'll notice I'm getting 91.51 right now. But you can see around the 91.50 area is where that trend line is holding support currently. Okay, so if I want to judge where if prices broke that trend line, where it would no longer be giving support, where I'd want to put my stop loss in the case of a rising wedge, I'd want to put it in the vicinity of about wiggle of at least 5 pips, maybe 10 at most. Okay, so with a 91.50-ish, 91.51, 91.52 entry based upon support, my stop loss would probably be somewhere in the vicinity of 91.45, 91.40. What I want to do is, I realize that not all markets just turn on a dime. Even though this dime is pretty important, it's a 91.50 major cycle level, okay? But I realize there might be wiggle around that area. Okay, I don't want just appears to be a reason for me just to turn around and about face. Some things I'll consider. The length of the pattern, you know, how long has it been in place? How long has the uptrend been in place? Okay, those are things I will absolutely consider. So if we basically break around 91.45, maybe 91.40, not only will I stop out, if I want to aggressively trade any kind of reversal of the rising wedge, I'll also get short. So patterns can absolutely be used for exits because the pattern itself holds the key to the point of validity. Where is the validity for this trend following strategy for the rising wedge? It's this uptrend line. So if the uptrend line's broken with a little bit of wiggle, give it 5 to 10 pips, you go ahead and get out. Because the bottom line is, unless prices stay within the pattern is not really helping me any, is it? If it's breaking above, that's one thing. But if it's not staying within the pattern as far as respecting support, it's broken the whole reason for the rising wedge, right? Does everyone follow? Does it make sense? It's pretty simple, right? It's pretty simple. I think that the entry strategy, if well formulated, will hold the key to when the strategy is no longer valid. If you know the reasons why you got into a trade, the trade entry itself should then explain the reasons when it's no longer a reason to hold the trade, as this chart pattern did.